Hello again. Welcome to another video of gut string exercises. I'm Diederik. If you haven't already, I'd love for you to go to my website to download and print the gut string exercises that I made for these series of videos. And if you have the time, please take a look at my other videos, which I discuss sound pressure and string changes. In this video, we're going to look at playing off the string and what gut strings can teach us about playing off the string. There are, in general, two ways to play off the string. There's a controlled stroke, which is often used in things like collé, and an uncontrolled stroke. This is the most common one that we use for spiccato, sautille, leggero, whatever you would like to call it. To play the controlled stroke, we're going to do something similar that we did in the first exercise where we talked about sound pressure. So I again want you to pay close attention to the amount of pressure that you use on the string, and make sure that we're not getting any noise. So a good way to do that, just like in exercise number 1, is to make noise and then see how much pressure you used to make that, so you don't use that amount of pressure again. So we're first going to play collé stroke, which is used mainly with the wrist and the lower half of the bow, but you can play it in any part of the bow. So we're going to use a version of exercise number 2 to practice this stroke. Etc. It's very important that you adjust the weight of the bow that you use on the open string. Every string is going to need a different amount of pressure. So be aware of the pressure that you're using to create a beautiful sound on any string, and try to internalize the pressure that you used. Make a mental picture of the pressure that you used to play on that string. We're going to do this in various tempos. A good place to start is about 40 BPM and then raise it with 20 BPM per so. This is not a stroke you can play extremely fast, but you're going to want to get somewhere around here. Somewhere around there. The second stroke we're going to practice is the uncontrolled stroke. I say uncontrolled because, in effect, the bow is the one doing the work for us in this stroke. The more that we control the bow in spiccato or sautille, the more it's going to sound controlled, which is not going to give us the character that we need and is asked for in spiccato or leggero or sautille stroke. So even though it's an uncontrolled stroke, we're going to practice it détaché. And when you're practicing it, make sure you're getting a very smooth, light sound. You feel the lightness in your fingers, in your wrist, in your arm, because we're going to need that lightness later when we raise the BPM, when we raise the tempo of the exercise, and the stroke becomes more and more off the string. So first we're going to use a whole bar, then half a bar to change notes. We're going to start on a G major scale. So even though we're still détaché, make sure you're mainly using wrist and a little bit of arm. So as soon as we raise the tempo of this, we're going to start getting more and more off the string. So there we were using 8 notes, 8 bows per note. Of course, the spiccato that you're the moment where the string, where the bow starts leaving the string, is dependent on a lot of things, not just the tempo, also where you are in the bow. Usually spiccato is best played around the balance point, which is somewhere, for me it's, let's see, somewhere around here. It's the point where both parts of the bow are of equal weight. So I'll tap the bow and it'll keep going back to this same balance point. So somewhere around here, or maybe a little bit further up the bow, but around there is going to be the best place to for the bow to jump on its own. Spiccato can come in a lot of different degrees. You can change the spiccato by playing it in different parts of the bow, and also by raising or lowering the arm. Usually my arm is not here, not too high up, but somewhere around here. You're going to have to experiment with what spiccato works best for you, but usually it's somewhere around here for me. But you're going to want to experiment with the height of your elbow and how also that relates to what string you're playing on. It will be different on each string. Another thing that is good to know is when you're changing strings, again, just like the previous exercise when we talked about string changes, try to not make the elbow jerk down or up when you're changing string. Try to make it as smooth as possible, which is a little bit more difficult in spiccato, but if I do a jerk-like movement, it's going to sound like this. We're going to get a kick to the sound. It's not something that we want. We want the change to be smooth so that the line keeps following, the line keeps growing gradually with the scale. So try to lower your arm. In this case, we're going to the D string a little bit before you're changing the string. So once we have that down, we're going to do a variation of this exercise, a variation of exercise number 2, where we're incorporating string changes into our spiccato. So it'll be difficult to maintain the spiccato in a string change. That's why I made this exercise. So you can really feel the difference in where your arm is, the difference in how light you need to be on the bow in order to make a smooth string change. So you're going to, just like the scale, first practice it in 8 bows per note, then in 4, then in 2. That'll be the most challenging one. Something like that. So I hope that gave you a lot of information to work with. Thanks for watching, and next time we're going to be looking at a sounding point, so where the bow is on the string, whether we're close to the bridge or close to the fingerboard, and what gut strings can teach us about sounding point. Thanks again for watching. Bye.